Week 13 of the fantasy football season, and here's the top 12 kickers. I'm ranking this week number 1, Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs. So Harrison Butker, I know the numbers haven't been all that great over the last few weeks, where this Chief offense is finding the end zone more often over the last few weeks. This week here, pretty decent matchup with the Green Bay Packers, but going to Lambeau Field on a Sunday night definitely is going to be tough, where I think the Chiefs will not find the end zone in most drives like they have over the last few weeks. So Harrison Butker, he's been perfect on the season. He hasn't missed a field goal. Right now, Justin Tucker's on bye, and Harrison Butker in a high-powered offense like Kansas City each and every week is a kicker that's just going to be within the top 5 weekly. But this week, I got him in 1. Number 2, Jake Elliott of the Philadelphia Eagles. So Jake Elliott, it's been another solid season here for him. He's in a high-powered offense, obviously, with this Philadelphia Eagle team. And this Eagle team, once again, they might punch their way all the way to the Super Bowl. And this week here, NFC Championship rematch, Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers. I believe it's going to be high scoring. It could be a similar game like we saw last week with the Bills and the Eagles. And Jake Elliott, he's going to get many extra point opportunities, obviously, and possibly 2 or 3 field goal attempts, because this San Francisco 49er defense, in my opinion, is still one of the better defenses in the league, where they're going to bend but don't break on a few drives. Number 3, Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas Cowboys. So this Cowboy offense, the last month of the season, they're putting up monster points, and they're putting it up pretty easily, this Cowboy team, with 30 or more points in the last 3 weeks in a row for this 30 or more points 4 weeks in a row for this Cowboy offense. So Brandon Aubrey's getting opportunities. He hasn't missed a field goal this season, but he has missed 2 extra points. But this week here versus Seattle, where their defense, in a way, has been bend but no break for most weeks here. Brandon Aubrey on Thursday night, I think once again he'll get many opportunities and have a solid game. Number 4, Evan McPherson of the Cincinnati Bengals. Evan McPherson now more field goal opportunities and less touchdown drives. I believe it's going to be for the remainder of the season, obviously, with this Bengal team, with Joe Burrow out for the season and Jake Browning in there at quarterback. So Monday Night Football at the Jacksonville Jaguars, a defense that does create a few turnovers, but also a defense that does give up some points as well. So Evan McPherson, we know he's one of the better kickers in the league, unlimited range. And this week at Jacksonville, I think the opportunities will be there for him. Number 5, Cameron Dicker of the Los Angeles Chargers. So this Charger offense hasn't been all that great in the red zone over the last month of the season, where they're settling for field goals. And Cameron Dicker, he's been a great kicker this year, kicking over 90 percentile in his field goals and his extra points. So this week here in New England, I know the weather's going to be cold. It's already December here, where it's tough to kick over there in Gillette Stadium. But Cameron Dicker, the accuracy's been there all season. I know most of his games have been indoors, even on the road in that division, and obviously all his home games indoors. But Cameron Dicker's got great accuracy, and for once the Chargers have found the kicker after many seasons not having an accurate kicker, and a guy could get the job done. Number 6, Jake Moody of the San Francisco 49ers. So this 49er team, the whole team was playing great football the first 5 weeks of the season, going 5-0, and then everyone besides McCaffrey in terms of fantasy football didn't do much in that 3-game losing streak. But now the last 3 games, they've bounced back 3-0 in the time, and everyone's putting up fantasy points. And this week here, Philadelphia, bend but don't break type of defense at times in the red zone. They give up field goal attempts. So Jake Moody, we know he's got a solid boot. We know he's a rookie, and he was taken in the 3rd round for a reason in the NFL draft, where the Niners believe in him. And this week here, Philadelphia, I think he has a good game. And I know there's some games he's missed some tough ones, but he's wrote the ship over the last few weeks, just like this 49er team as a whole has done. Number 7, Young-Ho Koo of the Atlanta Falcons. So Young-Ho Koo, I know he's a better kicker at home than he is on the road. And this week here, tougher matchup in terms of kicking the football on a windy MetLife Stadium and cold in December. But this New York Jet team, we know they keep a lot of teams out of the end zone. And also we know this Atlanta Falcon offense doesn't punch the ball into the end zone that much as well. So Young-Ho Koo, one of the more accurate kickers in the last 5 seasons. This guy's got unlimited range for the most part as well. And this week here, in a grinded out type of performance versus a good defense, I think he'll get a few opportunities and once again be a solid option. Number 8, Jason Sanders of the Miami Dolphins. So the last 2 weeks, Jason Sanders has had double-digit fantasy days. And this week here, great matchup with the Washington Commanders that can't stop anyone. And they give up a lot of points and a lot of field goals opportunities. So this week here, Sanders, once again, it wouldn't be surprising to me if he reaches double-digit fantasy points. He's got a good boot, and he's in a great offense that gets a lot of extra point opportunities. And if he could just get 2 or 3 field goal opportunities as well, he could have a huge game. Number 9, Brandon McManus of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Brandon McMahon is one of the more accurate kickers over the last few seasons, and another kicker with unlimited range, plays in a solid offense, and also an offense that stalled out a lot this season in the red zone is this Jacksonville Jaguar team. So this week on Monday Night Football versus middle of the pack defense in Cincinnati, I think Brandon McManus will get a few opportunities. He's had some good games over the last few weeks, and this Jaguar team's had a great season, especially winning the last 6 out of 7 ball games. So this week, Brandon McManus, once again, I think the chances will be there. Number 10, Matt Gay of the Indianapolis Colts. And Matt Gay pretty much each and every week, 8 to 9 points minimum, you could pencil him in for, because this offense over there for Indianapolis really has stalled out a lot over the last few weeks, even though Jonathan Taylor last week finished with 2 touchdowns in the red zone. So right now it's at the Tennessee Titans, a middle of the pack type of defense, a defense that's stout against the run, and a defense that you could pass on, but they tighten the screws up in the red zone. So this week here in a division matchup where I think it's going to be a closer game than people expect, I think Matt Gay, he's going to get a few opportunities. And we know he's a pretty solid kicker this season. Number 11, Dustin Hopkins of the Cleveland Browns. So Dustin Hopkins, he had a few monster weeks in mid-weeks of the year. And the last few weeks, he's still putting up fantasy points, but obviously not the production like he has. And it's been a problem because at quarterback, we don't know who it's going to be. But even with Thompson Robinson, been less opportunities for Dustin Hopkins. But he's a veteran kicker. He kicks a lot of easy 40, 50-yarders. He makes it easy. And this week versus Arizona, a defense that isn't all that great, where I think this Brown team could at least move the ball more into the red zone than they have over the last few weeks here, versus a defense like Arizona. At least get Hopkins some opportunities. So Hopkins, with his unlimited range for the most part and having a great season, even in a bad offense, I think field goals will be there for him in this one. And the 12th and final kicker on rankings, Will Lutz of the Denver Broncos. So this Bronco team, it looked like a lost season, and it looked like Sean Payton, best years were behind him as a head coach coming back this year. But right now, this Bronco team went from 1-5 to 6-5 now, and Will Lutz, he's been one of the better kickers in terms of fantasy points over the last month of the season. So right now, good matchup use in indoor game, which obviously is always a plus. And Will Lutz, he's always been a solid kicker in terms of kicking the football from 45 yards plus. He's had pretty good success in his career with those long field goals. And in an offense like the Denver Broncos, where they stall out on a lot of drives and have to settle, Will Lutz has been good for them. So right now, with a good matchup of Houston in a potential mini shootout, I like Lutz cracking the top 12 this week. So that's the top 12 kickers I'm ranking for week 13 of the fantasy football season.